Consolidated Commission on Utilities. It's a working session for the Guam Power Authority. For the record, those present are myself, Commissioner Chapo, Commissioner Sanchez, Commissioner Santos, and Commissioner Martinez. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. I'd like to start out with the resolution number 2022-14, which is approval for bond issuance to refund the outstanding 2012 revenue bonds. As we all know, we've been working so hard over the past several months to get to the point where we can do the refinancing of the bond because of the low interest rate climate, and of course it's part of our plan on how we're going to maximize the savings to the ratepayers by 2025 with a combination of the new power plan, renewables, and refinancing. So, therefore, Mr. Chair, we did, the legislature did pass Bill 212. The governor signed it into law as Public Law 36-80. So we are now in the process of moving as quickly as possible to implement the refinancing. Most importantly, because as we know, and I think today, I was looking at CNN this morning, the Feds did raise the rate, I think a few basis points. And so therefore, it's really of a high urgency that we get to the market and maximize the refinancing savings. So therefore, there's still several things that need to occur. One, the passage by the CCU of the resolution for the documents for the refinancing. Two, Gpa also, the board has to pass the resolution, and I believe that's on their agenda for this afternoon. And third, the PUC has to approve the refinancing, which will be on their agenda on April 31st. And so, with that, Mr. Chair, the resolution 2022-14 is the resolution for your approval. And again, we would like to take this up at the Tuesday presentation. Again, the refinancing still follows the original scenario that the CCU had approved previously under a different underwriter, which is to maximize the debt service savings beginning in 2024, which is about the time that the new power plan comes into play. Today we're fortunate to have our underwriters, Bank of America and co-underwriter Wells Fargo, and they're here to answer any questions that the Commission may have. And I'd like to first ask them to introduce themselves so that I don't get anybody's name or title mixed up. So,
go ahead.
Yes, can you? Ready?
Hi, good morning. My name is Craig Dusinger. I am a director with BofA Securities in Los Angeles, and happy to be here.
Good morning, Jeff Bauer with BofA Securities. I'm a managing director, also based in Los Angeles.
Hi, I'm Frank Lauterbur. I'm a managing director at Bank of America Securities based in Los Angeles, and very happy to be here back here in Guam. First worked with GPA back in 1999, so exciting to be here. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Tom Wynn. I'm a director with Wells Fargo out of Los Angeles, and glad to be back working with GPA again. Thank you.
Last and clearly least, I'm Chris Fink, managing director with Bank of America in New York City. Thank you.
And so the process, again, they're all here working with our team, Gita and everyone else, so that we can get all the documents, the POS statement, presentations and everything, because the next step also would include rating presentations to get our credit rating on the refinancing, and then further beyond that, the pricing to occur after we've gotten all the approval. And we're trying to do this all within between now and the April time frame. So again, without necessarily going through the resolution and providing the commission a chance to look at it, and so if there's any questions perhaps that you may have at this
Commissioners,
point.
have you had a chance to
yeah.
look at the resolution?
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions? Initial questions?
It's the same standard.
Yeah.
This is a refi of a 2012 financing, right? So, sort of-
About 265 million.
Yeah.
We're still, they're still looking around the 3%, 3% range, 3 to, could be up, hopefully below 4.
For the tick?
And we're still looking at somewhere around, I think latest numbers looking like 14.1, 14.1 or
Yeah, I mean, the interest rate, it's
Savings.
unfortunate. The real unfortunate thing for the ratepayers is I know John had asked this bill to be introduced last summer, and we couldn't get our chairman to do that, so Senator San Augustine saw the benefit of the savings, and he introduced the bill in October, and here we are in March, finally getting it into law, and that delay by the legislature enacting, primarily because the chairman, for whatever reason, was hesitant to assist, and then he ended up voting for the bill anyway, but that delay cost our ratepayers some savings. But the nice thing is in the design of the debt, even with the reduced savings and even with the slight increase in the Fed rate, by going to market now versus later, the Fed signaled that they're going to do it a number of times in this year, we can still max the savings that we can get. And the biggest thing is to save that debt service in the early years of the financing, of the refinancing. That $15 million a year helps John B. pay for the new generator. And that new generator is going to cost ratepayers $37 million a year to pay for it. But it's going to save us, at $100 a barrel, it's going to save us $100 million in fuel costs and allow us to add more solar farms that will further reduce our fuel costs. So it's part of the integrated resource plan. It's part of what John and his team have been working on since 2008, when Governor Camacho, Speaker Ben Pangolin, and ourselves got the legislation to set a renewable portfolio standard. And we were supposed to be at 25% renewable by 2035, and John's team is going to get us there a decade earlier. And this new generator will also, is a big piece of that puzzle, this refinancing, saving us money in the early years. We know that in the later years, the debt service goes back up in the 2030s. But we know other debt we have comes off our books. We don't have to pay the debt service. So we can levelize the debt service over the next 15 years with things like this refinancing. And that's why John recommends it. I believe that's why all of us support it. It will help the ratepayers put in position the new generator. You know, we have one other bill to work on, but that new generator is key to reducing our use of oil. And there ain't anybody on the planet that I can find, other than a few oil companies, that are happy with the status of oil and the price of oil. And the biggest thing we can do to reduce the cost to our ratepayers is reduce our use of oil through the new generator, new solar farms, and refinancing older debt to take away, because when we did this original financing, we knew about now the debt service would climb. And we have done this now for a number of decades between the PUC and the CCU to levelize the debt load in a way that we don't get these spikes. Now we can afford to pay for this new generator through oil savings, through lower debt service on this debt, and reduce power bills and set the stage for further reduction of power bills, because we're going to use even less oil when that new generator is built and we add additional solar farms. We won the protest. The court sustained that GPA had validly awarded another solar farm award to NG. Now John B.'s team is working to implement that award. That's more solar coming to Guam for our ratepayers, but it needs that new generator. And one more piece of the puzzle, if we refi this debt and save $15 million until the 2030s, it helps our ratepayers not have to pay more for their aggregate debt at the Guam Power Authority. It levels it out. So at the end of the day, we're grateful to the legislature for passing it, the governor for signing it. We'll go get it done, and we need to get it done because we know interest rates, we've been knowing since last year that interest rates were on the rise. It's being proven out, and the sooner we go to market, the cheaper we can get this debt to be, the greater the savings for our ratepayers.
You know, I just want to add that I sat in on a meeting yesterday, and you folks do good work. No complaints. The work you're doing is not standard, but you're good at it and you know how to place all the different things. The key to me, whenever we go to market, is really telling the GPA story. You haven't been with GPA in a long time. This is a very different company, and this is a company that's able to survive different things. In 2015, we had Fitch and some of the other rating agencies come out and actually visit Guam. This is in, I think, May of 2015, in this, is in that time frame. Then we had an explosion at Cabras 4. We lost that, and we lost the other unit, Cabras 3, because of the fire that went on. And we still were able to carry on business, collect money. We actually went out and collected on the insurance policy and got $126+ million in our claim, when we filed our claim. So this is a business company now. This is not a typical GovGuam agency. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean to say this is a different GPA. And that's the key to me, is as you go forward and you meet with the rating agencies and then with the bond people, the bond buyers rather, the actual guys who take out our bonds, who like investing in Guam and in GPA. John Beneventi is going to be key. He's going to tell that GPA story. I don't know, in 1999, if you ever went around to the GPA facilities. We did. We had this thing called PSCC, Power System Control Center, down at Cabras. Yep. Yeah. Do you know where the Power System Control Center is now? It's right over there in this building. And if you walk over there, you'll see a very modern Power System Control Center. You should ask John to briefly take you over there sometime today, just so you can see the development of this company. This is a modern electric utility company. And the forward thinking of our management and the CCU in terms of where we're going to go. Renewable energy is very key. Photovoltaic is not quite the one we all would want. I mean, the four countries in the world that are 100% renewable, most of them rely on either hydropower, geothermal. Some of them use wind. Very few of them use photovoltaics. In Costa Rica, I think their photovoltaics is biogas, and photovoltaics makes up 0.8 of 1% of their renewable energy mix. It's like 65% hydro, and they have wind and some other stuff. So, you know, I mean, we don't have some of those abilities. We don't have the land mass to put wind down, the wind that we need. But we do have sun. And one of the things we're doing is we're really moving forward, and I kind of highlighted that a little bit yesterday when we sat and talked. But that's why John, I know John is going to give you this GPA story, and it's key, because when we talk to the rating agencies, this is what they'll remember. They'll remember that, hey, these guys got hit with a curveball. The proof of a good utility is not when things are going good, but when things go wrong and you still are able to go back and do your business. Okay? So good luck. I probably won't be able to join you on the meetings, but I rely on John. And Commissioner Sanchez will be there, knows the GPA story very well, and knows the GovGuam story too. From the point of view of the support we get from the PUC, you know, they support us in making adjustments to the LEAC when we need to do that. So you have a good team. I won't be there, but I think you're going to have some very good people to represent our story. And that's the key to me. That's the key. Every time we've gone out to market, Commissioner Sanchez, we do the GPA or GWA story, and our rating agencies like it, and they listen, and we tell them what we're doing, and then we do what we tell them we're going to do. And that's the key. Okay.
And we're investment grade, which we weren't before. Grade. So, we've come a long way for all the right reasons. This is ratepayer money that we manage. Some people say, why do you, criticize me for saying, GPA is not a business, but a business has shareholders that own the company, and you protect the interests of the shareholders. Well, the shareholders of the Guam Power Authority and the Guam Water Works Authority are the ratepayers of Guam. They've invested heavily into this utility. It's their utility, and we have an obligation to manage their money as wisely as we can and find all the ways using the professional expertise of John B., his team, Miguel and his team, to find solutions that will lower the cost of utility service while still providing reliable service. And reliability has a cost, and generation has a cost, and we have to manage all of that. But we're in a good position. We'll go to market. We'll get a good rate. The legislature supported us. Senator Rogel voted for the bill. So we'll take that. The governor's with us. So we'll go get that done. And then we'll work on Bill 213. That's the next bill. We need the help from the governor and the legislature. Doesn't affect financing, but it does affect our ability to lower the power bill faster for our ratepayers. And John, I know we'll talk about it a little bit. But that one bill, by being able to take advantage of the lowest bidder's offer on how to provide power to our people at the lowest cost possible, creates an opportunity that your team saw that said, hey, if we move their modular component, their backup component, from Dededo down to Cabras, there's more savings for ratepayers. And that's what we're looking for. And I think we're looking for a 500-foot exemption from a 30-year-old law. You know, for 500 more feet, we'll be closer to a school that wasn't there when the law was passed, but we're reducing emissions 99% for the entire island, and especially for PD and the Cabras area and Assen. So all those positive things, that's the next piece of the puzzle that we'll ask the legislature and the governor to help us with, so we can reduce our use of oil. Because oil and its costs is hurting us. And when we say we have no control over oil, that part is true. But we do have control over how much oil we use, what other technologies can we use, like solar, to avoid using oil and go to fixed cost pricing. You know, solar farms is a fixed cost. It doesn't do this like oil. That's why in our integrated resource plan since 2008, we've said, how do we get to more renewable energy? And your team, John, is getting us there 10 years early. I think Speaker Ben will be proud of us. By 2030, we will have doubled his vision. That we're going to be at 50% renewable, and we're going to be there 5 years early. And I think he would be very happy with that result. And equally important, our ratepayers are going to be very happy that in a very short period of time, we're going to reduce significantly our reliance on using oil to make the energy that our community needs in a reliable way. And this refinancing is one piece of that puzzle to help spread out the costs in a wiser way, to help reduce the cost of power. And I think you put it well, John. We want to reduce the cost of power now to existing ratepayers. My grandson should help pay for that new generator, and we've even come up with a strategy that says in 2030 his debt service is not going to go up, because other debt is being paid off by our ratepayers and ourselves. So we've got a good plan. This is a piece of that puzzle. Let's get it done on Tuesday, send it off, and let's go get that refinancing done and begin to save money for our ratepayers.
Yeah. One last note is, you know, really one of the keys is the fact that we have a consolidated commission on utilities, and you have 5 business people around this table representing their ratepayers, our ratepayers. And that is key, because in addition to GPA always being a good utility, and you've had experience with them in the past, now they're investment grade. This thing we call Guam Water Works Authority is now investment grade also, and it's acquired $680 million in debt. That's a testament to the fact that the bond buyers see something and say, hey, we want to get involved. And the rating agencies have always said, yep, we believe you. So anyway, enough said. Any other questions on the bill, on the resolution rather? Nope. John? Next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next item is resolution 2022-15. Again, we're continuing on with our concrete wooden pole change out to concrete pole, and of course our inventory requires replenishment. So we have a bid for 200 concrete poles at a cost of 1.398950. And again, that's that resolution asking the CCU's consideration for approval My limit is 1 million, and therefore that's why we're before the CCU to request this. So again, this is the normal course of business. There is only one sole bidder, and actually we're fortunate to still have someone. Remember, we used to have this on the island manufactured, but there's not enough poles over time to sustain that business. But we've looked at it, and the price is not unreasonable, and it's the sole source bidder.
Commissioner Chacon, your question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, John, what's the plan for, I've noticed a couple of the last solicitations, there's been like sole bidders. Is there anything in the works to kind of like do any outreach programs to get more people to, and encourage them to bid on some of these solicitations?
I can look into that, Commissioner. We will I'll take a look at which ones you were talking about. One is, one has been concrete pole, and then I'll look at the others. But
So the last time we had a solicitation for the concrete poles, was it also just one bidder?
yes, I believe so. It's been Benson for a while. Before that, the first ones that we had in the beginning came from Japan and all of that. They're just not doing anymore. And then it used to be Pangilinan Pole Factory and Benson. So it ended up that Benson has been the provider now. Now, maybe we'll take a look at that and see if there are other opportunities. We're even looking for a long-term indefinite quantity at a reduced price with the sole source. No? There's potential to try and keep this as low as possible. But we're about 3,000 poles away from
All concrete poles.
the whole islands are over 90% concrete. We have about 36,000 poles. No? And again, most of our projects now in the developments are going hybrid, underground hybrid system, so that recovery can be faster. And then eventually, as our capital cash becomes more and more available for other than at some point we're gonna most of our cash has been used really over all these years for capital investment in power plants. I mean, just last 2 months ago, I bought with you a $5 million Cavers overhaul. Here you go. So those things are going to go away again. That's another indirect benefit of the new production generation plan. So those type of cash would now be utilized to start beginning more consistent hybrid and maybe high load center underground systems. We've done Tumun, but now where do we want to begin next? Where are the high density areas that can get the most customers back within the shortest period of time? We have underground transmission lines. Now we have to start working into the distribution. And even some of them could run through a storm. Like today, now we can have water through a storm. No, that's a major accomplishment. So now we'll start working on getting more and more customers to run through a storm, because the homes are, protected, concrete pole, shutters, 180 mile per hour wind. So that's again. So this is what this is, Mr. Chair, and I'll be asking your approval on Tuesday.
Any other questions on this issue for decision? No? Okay.
Next, Mr. Chair, I'd like to go into LIAC.
Sure.
No.
No. No. Hard decision.
Let's deal with it.
Deal with it.
This is just a hot off the press. I'm sorry.
It should be
I think it was loaded this
under
morning.
discussions.
Okay.
You'll see 87, yeah.
Again, hot off the press because fuel prices are hot up and down. No, so, but again, LIAC for March 2022. Again, the PUC set the LIAC at 18.08 cents in January, beginning February 1st, and it does this on what we use a forward power posting from our Standard and Poor, like Morgan Stanley, 2 weeks before and 2 weeks, a week before and a week after a date, no? Which has worked fairly accurately for ourselves. So again, this has been the trend on the LIAC, and of course, more recently, it has been trending up because again, through the pandemic and all of that, we put forth a lot of assistance to our ratepayers where they were having difficulty. We had used our cash to be able to provide that assistance by not having to raise the LIAC as quickly as we have done throughout the years. So we've been through that process over the past 2 years, and so finally, we were heading towards a recovery slowly, but again, recovery process. But again, what happened recently, the invasion of Ukraine, has made the world market really difficult and very challenging. I do want to note again, just so that everyone really knows that we're still, no matter what happens here, we're still the lowest in the Pacific area in cost. Even with the last LIAC at 18 cents, a total cost of 28 cents for our ratepayers, we're still lower than any of the Hawaiian Islands, Virgin Islands, Saipan, and areas, even if you compare with some areas like San Diego, San Francisco, and area, we're still lower than that. So, we've been able to manage our with the best, most efficient machine we could get for the time. I'm going to also go show at the end what it is now and what it could be, will be in 2025. No, if we have this type of scenario where we have a perfect storm, everything happening in one time, fuel prices are climbing, and look at this. I mean, just between February, since the invasion, it went up to over $120 a barrel for WTI. Okay, I'll show you what it was when we set the LIAC and where it went, and actually today, good news, it's been coming down. It's now at $95 a barrel. No, so again, next page. Here's our. I'm sorry. Can you see here? Here's our. Here's our fuel pricing of the three commodities we typically use, and you can see it's no longer even a 45 degree. It's almost
Straight up.
80, 90, 87, 89% outwards. No? So again, this is what we're seeing today in the market. Next. So what did I try to do? I mean, we have the forward pricing and everything, but what I try to use as a gauge or as to how we're doing really, I use the WTI. I mean, there might be other indicators that might be better, but I use it as a gauge for myself, right? So I try to correlate the WTI with what our LIAC may be, no? With information working with John. So here it is. If you have right now, if you have a WTI about $80, the LIAC is about 15. If you look here, if the WTI is about 100, it's 20 cents. And that's correlating, no? The 20 cents 100 for WTI is almost $100 for our RFO and a higher price for diesel, the combination of all of it. Gives us a LIAC about 20 cents. If we went to $120 a barrel, the LIAC will be somewhere around 23 cents. And if you see that it goes up to 150, then it'll be up to around 27 cents. So again, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm just giving a linear relationship as to WTI versus our stuff for the information of the commission. And as we, because sometimes we wonder what's happening, how's the LIAC going to occur, right? With the information, with the price of fuel running the way it is. So again, here, my apologies, I forgot I put the table there. See, 150 about 27, blah, 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 right? Next. I'm not sure that we can see this as well, Mr. Chair. My apologies, out of the press, but John has, took a look at the forward pricing of what it was in January. What it was in January, which was set for the rates that are in effect today, resulted in 18 cents a kilowatt hour for the LEAC. So when John used the February forward pricing, just to get an indicator, it's looking like it's going up to, looking like it's like 20.6 cents. So just the forward pricing that has occurred based on using February, the LEAC, to sustain the recovery that we were looking for of no more than, I'd say 17.5, or I think, John, you used 20 million here, so that our under recovery is no more, doesn't increase beyond 20 million, the rates will have to go up to 20.6 cents, no? And again, and that's if you put it into effect in April 1st, and you go to 21.6 if you wait another month until May 1st, no? Because again, April 1st is just a stone throw away, right? So I mean, I know our customers are already getting so much impact from higher gasoline prices and all of that. So I wanted to show we wanted to show the differential, so that, how do we make the decisions moving forward to when do we increase, or at what point do we increase it, and what is the impact of that, no?
Hey, John.
Yep.
John, just before you leave that, so I just want to, when the PUC set the new LEAC effective February 1, the projected under recovery at the time was 17.5 million, right?
Correct.
The far left column, am I reading that right? Okay. And then the two scenarios you're showing us on the two right columns, right? Depending on whether there's a change in the LEAC on April 1st or on May 1st, some of the, and obviously it's our call, then the PUC's call. But if there's a change in either of those 2 months, you're saying that there would have to be an increase to keep the under recovery at 20 million, which actually is still higher than the under recovery in a few months ago.
Right.
So you're at least trying to, one argument might be, keep the under recovery at 17.5 million, which is where it was in December, or now February 1, when the new LEAC changed. The two scenarios you're showing shows a slight increase in the under recovery to 20 million from 17.5 million, even if there's an adjustment in the LEAC, right? That's, am I looking at that correctly?
Correct.
Right, and then you're proposing and then depending on the timing of the adjustment, if the adjustment is given in April, then it's a lower adjustment. If it's delayed until May, it's a higher adjustment. In either case, it's an increase from the current LEAC of 18.1 cents to about 20.5 or 21 cents a kilowatt hour, depending on when how the PUC looks at the timing, if it wishes to grant relief and when it grants relief.
Right. So we're granting some help assistance right here by looking at, instead of 17.5, now recovering that 17.5, now making it 20 million, no? And again, there's a certain range, so we have cash flow that we can continue to sustain to make sure we pay and buy the oil, no? We've been fortunate over the years that we built up a big enough cash reserve to be able to do this without impacting any other portion of the authority, no? So again, that's why we have the reserves that we are putting forward. That's why we have under recovery as much as 20 million, and we've gone as much as 30 million, right? Now, what we do know is that, of course, now the shipments, we order about 250,000 barrels a month. So if you order at $100 a barrel, that's $25 million that we have to make sure we always have available, no? But here, with this two scenario, if you implement it in April, you can look at a 9.23% on the total bill of average residential customer of 1,000 kilowatt hours, no? So that's like $9 additional, no? If you wait until, if you decide to do it in May, then it'll be 12.1% or 30
$34, $33.70.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 26
33.
and 30,
Yeah.
26 and 34,
Yeah.
depending on the timing of the,
Yeah, I'm sorry I said $9, but it's 25
yeah,
to
25.
33, no?
John, what would happen, did you run a scenario if you didn't raise the LEAC? What the under recovery would be?
Right here,
Which one?
27 million.
Which column is it?
Column.
Correct me if I'm wrong, John, but it's the second column here.
So the
Oh,
under
no.
recovery goes up to 27 million, okay, 28 million almost.
Is that correct, son? The 20,
And-
if we didn't do anything at all, it'd be
It goes to 28
27.
million, right? And
Yeah.
what's the highest under recovery we've ever had to deal with? I know it's been around
About-
20-ish.
About 30 million, I believe.
We've gone as high as 30?
Well, yeah, during the pandemic.
Oh, not anywhere close to where it is now. I think we're still, yeah.
No, that, Commissioner Santos.
So, what else can we do as the authority to lessen the blow to the residential payers? I mean, that's the question, right?
Yep.
It's, do we go back and start tightening the belts in other areas? For example, don't buy concrete poles.
No.
No, no,
Don't buy
no.
any more equipment. I mean, John, those are the decisions that
Yep.
we have to make as business, because the difference, and this is my question, is every time we raise the rate, what is going to be the correlation to reduction in the use of power? And we're coming up on those months where you say there's going to be a high peak because it gets hotter on one. Are the residential customers going to say no because I just can't afford it? I mean, you're 30, what, you have 6,000 people apply for $300 in gas. And we're sorry about that won't even cover the power bill that we're talking about. So I guess the question is, what can we do as the authority side to lessen the blow, and can we afford to eat another 10 million for the next 2 months?
Or 6 months, actually.
Well, we're going through, yeah.
Right, 'cause it looks through
whatever
July.
way you want to do it.
Yeah.
So the question that you have whether we can sustain and not do anything and make the under recovery go to 27 million, without consulting our CFO, I think the answer is yes, no? I hope, right, son? But again, because we have done it before and we do have cash, no? But at some point, you're going to have to take care of that, which will be, again, before August 1st, you have to raise, and then it's just
That increase would be higher.
yeah, the rate increase will be higher.
Pay
But there,
pay now, pay
so again, it's a very hard thing, and we have some things that we're working on as to how we can help, some things that are in our control, how we can help our customers. We've been, again, going out with a lot of recommendations on how to make that happen. No, we're working with Guam Energy Office for some program to provide for purchasing of more efficient air conditioning coupled with our rates. Today, I don't have it ready. Unfortunately, I didn't have it ready for you. We're still working out the details of the program. I'm talking about revolving loan for people to change out their air conditioners from the high consumption to a lower consumption. A revolving loan that gets repaid back over time, but constantly can provide customers can go out and change their air conditioners and really save money, no? And from part of that savings, pay us to put back into the loan so others can also utilize that. So we're working on different programs that we don't have it all today, no? But we're trying to make that doing the demand side management program. There's still a lot of customers out there with air conditioning that are, and they say, oh no, it's still working, so that's fine. It's really not fine because your consumption of energy could be 30 or 40% lower than what you're consuming today, and therefore what you pay for energy would be less. No, but again, that's why the revolving loan, because sometimes they don't have the cash flow to be able to make that happen. So we still, we haven't finished that.
But it's hard to loan money when you're already 28 million short on what would be the source of funding. Well, I mean, but that's the reality, because we have never mixed the cost of fuel with other operating costs. We've always separated that the LEAC is just for fuel, but we have taken from our other pockets 20 million. If we do nothing, it could go as much as 28 million, and that does affect you, and it does affect even ratepayers. If you want to design a program to help ratepayers get better air cons and do a loan program, you're going to have to loan them the money. They pay you back, but we already have $28 million short on the part of the company that would loan the money, because we wouldn't loan them the money.
Well, let me come back with the program first. You know, I'm just saying.
I understand, John.
I'm just saying that I think that's one good program that could get us to save more energy. Because at the same time, when they save money, the overall company saves because the LEAC goes down, because the demand goes down, and we're not burning more expensive fuel. So I apologize, I don't have that ready today, but let me pull that something. Perhaps we can get a grant or something that will say, okay, here's a revolving loan. If you recall way back, PUG, or not PUG, I don't, not that far back, GWA, you know, was by one US EPA say, okay, put so much millions for a revolving fund for people to change out their the wastewater hook up to the sewer, right? Because people don't have that cash flow. So something similar, and maybe we're looking around for a grant right now actually to try and make that happen. No?
But the reality is oil is creating a major headache for all of us, and that's what we're talking about.
And we're trying to
That's what
find
we're going to have to
ways.
resolve between now and Tuesday, right?
No, not at all, yeah.
Commissioner Santos.
What is our
John.
self-insurance fund then? Self-insurance fund, like that, yeah.
How much? Because we took money out of that, right? That's where the 20 million's coming from.
Yeah. Yes, to refresh our memory, see, we've had the worst possible occurrences. First, we had the pandemic, and we purposely kept the LEAC low because we shut down the island. So we kept the LEAC low, and that's how we got up to the $30 million figure, right, John, Ken?
Mm-hmm.
And we took it from the
And
self-insurance fund.
then what we did is we said, we're going to help with this balance, and what we did is we took $10 million from the self-insurance fund, and we got the governor to give us $15 million to hold the line. And we were going to bring that under recovery down. Unfortunately, we now have a war going on that's raging on, and it's kicked the price way up, and so now the picture's going back again, but we've already taken from some different pots. We've done some good moves. There's not a lot of good moves left. That unfortunately, you know, you can't run that self-insurance fund down to zero. Because the worst thing that could happen is you have a storm. And you don't have the cash available to do the emergency stuff that you need to do before FEMA kicks in. So those are all the reasons why we did it.
We did have to pass another rate to replenish the
Yeah.
self-insurance
There-
fund.
there's
So it's in
yeah.
effect now. So,
Yeah.
you know, money's not free. Our ratepayer money's not free. We're moving it around as best we can to keep their bill lower. But as the chairman says, what can you do when the oil goes to
Yeah.
$120 a barrel?
And John B., I want to commend you. We want you to keep thinking outside the box. You don't have to be ready today. You don't have to be ready Tuesday. But we commend you for continuing to think out of the box. So don't stop thinking.
Okay.
You know, but we're not ready to discuss that today.
Yeah.
Commissioner Santos.
So what is your recommendation?
I don't have a recommendation today, actually, and I'll think about it more till Tuesday, but really, all I'm saying is that, okay, it's doable, even if we don't do anything until, back off. Let me finish the rest of my here, and then I will answer that question, okay?
It ain't gonna matter.
I'm sorry, my mode of, I have a sequence I go through. So again, this is just to high volatility, right, in February. Protocol, 2-week pricing to set the LEAC.
What have we done?
This is what the price was in January, going all the way. We went up, peak in March, 119. Now we're down to 95. Tomorrow, I don't know, right? Again, I mentioned, at some point we have to adjust to make sure we have enough cash to buy the fuel. We've been utilizing our cash reserve as much as 30 million. An adjustment by me is doable, meaning we don't have to adjust it in April. We can move it. Let's see what else happens between now and May. If it's really going to hit up, go back up again from the 95, maybe an adjustment, you know. But as we all can see, the 27 million is still within our range of but unless, John, anything else has changed, but we still have that capacity to, we still have, I think, how many days of reserve we have? We still have substantial, about 100 some days of reserve. We still, not, you know, not even counting the, what we have put forward. So again, these cash reserves really are there to help our ratepayers and the company sustain. We're no we're not in the point where we're not going to be able to pay any of our bills. We can continue to pay our bills. We pay our debt. Our debt service coverage is still very good, still at 1.8, I think, last month. So we're not in any default or anything that situation. We're very fortunate that we, you know, our financial condition is in excellent shape, no? So LEAG increase will result in about 10 to 13% in the next 2 months. Again, we've been encouraging our customers through DSM, and we've been going out social media and newsletter, keep asking them, paint your roof, do this, trim, put the, you know, so many recommendations that could help them help themselves, no? Last but not least, you know, we talk about what does it mean for this new power plant, and we talk so many times about how great it's going to be in 2025, no? Well, the proof is in the pudding here. You know, is that, look, with the same scenario happening today, and the oil was $120 a barrel, what would our LEAC be like? I'm saying your LEAC will be around 13 cents a kilowatt hour compared to the 20-some cents that you're looking at. So the combination of the new power plant and the renewables, we get to 2025, we've gotten to a scenario where we're, for many, many decades, no, not even years anymore, decades, and even I've been around, right? Whenever 2012, what happened? Oil went to $120 a barrel. Here we are, 2022. So before the next 10 years, which is 2032, if it did happen, your LEAG will be somewhere there because of the combination, the renewables, the new power plant. So that's why it's very important that we get that plan and our plan completed as soon as possible.
John, that's an important one. That's one more point we have to make, Commissioner Sanchez, with our senators, that if we had everything in place right now, even at 120, we would have been at 13
It'd be a lower
cents.
power bill.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
the reality now. So John, can we go back to the slide on page 92? Yeah. So that's really your decision analysis, right? You're going to recommend to us on Tuesday what you feel is the best decision. Scenario 2, the second column, says if we didn't do a LEAC increase, we would increase our under recovery to just short of $28 million. I mean, I see a small $9 increase. I'm not sure if that's just the math, the way that works out, but you know, it's only $9 versus $26 versus $34, right? But scenario 2, correct me if I'm wrong, the under recovery goes up. We have the cash to support that and keep buying the oil, but it still shows a small adjustment of about $9.38 for the average. I just want to make sure that we're disclosing, that I'm understanding what you're presenting to us, because on Tuesday, you're going to take this analysis and make a recommendation to us that will go to the PUC. Am I understanding the process at this point correctly? And the analysis?
Yes, that's correct, or make no recommendation at all to move forward, no?
But if you make no recommendation to keep, so you keep the LEAC the same,
Yeah.
the under recovery will go to $28 million.
Correct.
On Tuesday, you're going to tell us whether you want to not change the LEAC,
Right.
change the LEAC a little, a lot, right? And you're showing us 4 potential scenarios,
Yep.
right? I just want to make sure that, I mean, you know and I know, I think the media, I saw the media get out of it, you know, but people are watching, people want to know, right? So we want to disclose to them what the thinking is today, on Thursday, before a decision is made on Tuesday, and then obviously the PUC has the final call. As we know, the PUC is also nervous about significant under-recoveries. Remember, they raised the rate, our proposed rate increase, because they've got nervous at 20 million. We could walk in, if there's no increase, you're gonna walk in with a scenario to the PUC that says, now we're gonna go to 28 million. The PUC may say, I don't wanna go to 28 million. I mean, that's their call, right?
Correct.
But at least we want to make sure that, I wanna make sure the commission, we understand the analysis, and that you will confirm on Tuesday what your recommendation is, even if it's even a no recommendation is a recommendation, right? It's a no change, right?
No change, yeah.
But if there's no change, the current analysis says the under recovery will go to 28 million. John Kim says we can tolerate that for now, right? Financially, without hurting the company, right? And that is a possible scenario that you will talk to us about on Tuesday.
Right now, my thoughts on this really is that we can absorb this note.
The higher oil
right?
prices.
I really don't particularly care to, and again, it's really a policy call, but you know, you asked my recommendation, right? I don't particularly care to say next month's bill, April 1st, you will be paying now 20 cents. No, I mean, I think we need to give our customers a little bit of time at least so that they can prepare themselves for the additional $25. No, because right now, I mean, we don't want this to be like the gas, up and down, which I'm not saying anything about that. That's their method of adjusting, right? Whereas our method is every 6 months. No? So I'm thinking perhaps that if anything, something may occur on May 1st, no? If the pricing, if costs don't change or trend backwards or anything like that. So that's what I was thinking. And again, I can make that recommendation
John, you're
on Tuesday.
giving us a lot of information.
Yep.
And that's the nice part. We have between now and Tuesday to digest this information.
Right.
And we'll do some better talking. And you may have some other thoughts when we come to Tuesday.
That's correct.
So thank you for giving us the information. You're always good at that. You and John Kim and your staff is good at giving us the information. We have a lot of things to think about. Commissioner Santos.
Just circling back, John, John Key, right? We don't have our current financials to look at. I mean, I can understand no being under $10 million, but what are we going to do if we hold the rate from the operational standpoint? I mean, you know, what are you going to do internally to slow down the spending? Because that's the only other way to do this. I cannot. You don't do a rate increase, then you're going to increase your expenses, especially on this number right here. So internally, what are you proposing you're going to do?
Well, first of all, the increase here really is on the LEAC. It's not on the base rate, right? The base rate covers. We are, of course, holding back on what we could, no, to keep our. Because so how does that help us, no? It helps the LEAC because by not spending really necessarily, it develops more cash.
Your cash flows there.
Cash flow is better, so that cash flow goes to be able to pay the fuel oil, no? So yeah, we're working continuously working on that really, and so we have some expenses that we have to work on. Cabers 1, no, which I will provide you a report today, actually a GM report very quickly, and all of that. But we're holding back what we can, knowing, I mean, not at the expense of reliability. So it's really something that could wait a little bit longer without impacting. Those are the type of things that we're working on. No? But
And then I just had a quick question for John Kim. And John Kim, have you calculated the amount? There's a surcharge now to replenish the where we're taking this money from, right? I mean.
Well, we took the money.
Right, we already took the money, right? We already, and now, but we've also charged the ratepayers to get that money back. And have you analyzed how much cash, does your negative of 28 million include the cash you're recovering from the surcharge?
No.
To restore the LEAC under recovery? So how much, so that would be helpful Tuesday, is we are charging ratepayers, what is it, what are we charging for the recovery now? The self-insurance?
$1 something, $2?
Yeah, about $2 for about $2.50
A month.
per month if you use 1,000 kilowatt.
Okay, so that's giving you cash back in,
Yes.
right? Which we're actually grabbing, if we go another 8 million, you're actually grabbing some of that cash.
No,
Absorb it, but-
no, it's going back to replenish the,
I know, but in effect, you're still paying for fuel. I mean, because we fronted the cash. I don't want to fool anybody that we are wisely managing the money, but we're taking money, as Commissioner Santos is rightfully concerned, we're taking money that is usually for operational, other system needs that are non-fuel related, and we've taken 20 million. We might take as much as 28 million. We've done as much as 30 million, but we also did get approval of some recovery of that 20 to 30 million because there's now a surcharge, right? And so I don't want to fool my ratepayer that says, hey, we're not charging you for this. It always comes from the ratepayers, and that's our challenge, is to mitigate it, which I appreciate what John B. is saying. Maybe the timing, if nothing else, the timing of an adjustment in the power bill is probably the worst. And the chairman pointed out, we have delayed, we've run up and under recovery because of COVID, because of the crisis. And we're in another crisis, the oil crisis, right? So we'll look at these tools that we've used before. We'll look at it. All I was asking is, on the one, when you calculate that 28 million under recovery, there's some money coming in on the new surcharge. That's on the base rate side. It's building up your revenue on the base rate side, which helps you fund things like another $10 million in under recovery. Am I understanding the logic correctly?
Yes, the self-insurance funds charge is actually replenishing the money. So in effect, on the bill, it looks like almost, you do have a charge on it. We're expecting for the recovery to be about 3 years to be replenished back to $20 million.
So there's about $5 or $6 million a year coming from the surcharge, which we used to buy down our oil over the last 3 years to not raise the rate on the ratepayer. But the ratepayer is paying for it another way. This $28 million shortfall in column 2 doesn't count the revenue that's coming from the recovery of the, and that's okay. I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly. This really is the fuel under recovery. You're saying you have enough money to tolerate it. You're going to double check that with JB, and on Tuesday you'll make a recommendation as to what you think is correct. But we have fronted as much as 30 million.
Yes.
If we take scenario 2, we would be fronting as much as 28 million. So we've done it before, and we've done it for reasons, JB, you have identified and the chairman's identified, because times are tough. So we'll see what, I thank you for all of this. We'll all munch on it, think about it. Tuesday, you make a recommendation to us, and then we'll go from there.
and I would just like to know really for the records so that in uncertain terms it's not taken that we're reacting like what has been reacting in the past, where we let the under recovery really go all the way up and really began suffering within the agency, not paying our bills, debt service coverage is down. This is entirely a different scenario. As we always, and I say this because as we always go into the rating agencies, they say cash is king, no? So we develop a cash portfolio that allows us now to be for any type of scenario, different, like the chairman said, catastrophe or
Emergency.
we have the funding to be able to address that, no? And so this is an area now where we had the opportunity to utilize that funding, the cash that was available to us to help our ratepayers. And we'll continue to look at how else we can rate, as the vice chair had noted here, no? So we'll do that, and again, but I will not make a recommendation to the point where we're going to start going back to that type of scenario, no? And I think that's what everyone is concerned, even the PUC, no? So I want to know that there is a difference. It's still going to be recovered over time, no? But maybe at better time for our ratepayers when they are able to really pay us back or something, no? So that's what we're, that's kind of where we are. But just for the record, the company is not going to be worse off because it doesn't have all that cash back to where we're utilizing the cash as what we really had intended it for, whether it's for a infrastructure problem or a fuel oil problem. No? Okay. So that's all I wanted to say, Mr.
John, you have a short general manager's report, right?
I'll just run to the.
Go to the most important part.
I just want to, we talk about, there's also a belief on this island in some cases that we have all the capacity in the world and we have no problems, no? Unfortunately, we try to make sure that our customer don't worry. However, we do have to let them know that we do worry, no? And so again here, we know Cabras 1 is down, so we only have about 281 megawatts, no? The peak for the April will be about 248, so therefore we only have about 33 megawatts of reserve. So if we lose a base load, we're potentially between 6 and 10, no? Vulnerable. I don't say will, vulnerable to some load shedding if necessary. So again, that's just giving you an idea. I'd like to go again. We normally will be doing fine when we have Cabras 1. No? We only have one base load down, or it's only down for 3 weeks. For another unit is down for 3 weeks for overhaul. But in this case, we have an extended outage of Cabras 1. So I just want to go to the Cabras 1 portion of the report, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
The report is there for your perusal, no? Here. Again, it occurred February 4th, no injuries. Again, we did have significant damage on boiler panels and lighting installation. I'd like to know that I said it's a minor explosion, and then people will say, oh, that's not minor anymore. Well, no, it's relative to what you experienced, no? A major explosion was what happened in 1991 where the whole top of the boiler blew off. Yeah. And then we had to get it done, and we got it done in 90 days, no? Because of the urgency. This is minor, it's lagging, all those different information, although the environment is a little different, no? We did have the boiler specialist come, identified additional issues, and answered a lot of concerns that we have. So we're working to do that. We've ordered parts and materials, and some may take as long as July to get here. So we're looking at alternatives around that. We're not stopping with one date. No, we're moving, trying to get this unit back as soon as possible. So again, the return to service, I don't have a definite date, but it could be the end of April through July. We're targeting towards the end of April. We're doing some of the things that we've come up with recently. So again, the other program that I have to do is the conversion of 8 and 9. So if I can get it in April, I can still make it with the conversion, no? But I'm just giving everyone a heads up, no? So let's go to the next place again. Why do we have? Here's our capacity, and again, when you lose Cabras 1, you see way in the April without Cabras 1, if you see, we only have 299. If the peak is 248, then you lose the next unit at 50 megawatt, the next largest, you're going to be down to about 1. Now let's see, we're down to, we lose a second unit, now we'll be down to 1, and if we lose a third unit, we'll be down to minus, no? So again, that's the, if you look at the far right, as you can see, even if you lost the two largest unit, you still have 83 megawatts. We still can carry any load growth that occurs on this island. So again, 2025, unfortunately, we were planning October 2022 for the Ukudu. Now it's been delayed, right, because of all the various reasons, pandemic and everything. So we're in this scenario, but it's a challenging. We get unit number 1 up. I don't want to scare everyone that we're not gonna meet the load with. Again, look at it, minimal interruption if necessary. But we need to get the power plant moving. We need help. I need help getting, the legislation passed, things that I need so I can get to, as you will see in my report today, financial closing, could be done in April. That money now, the 500 million will flow towards construction, and you will see the power plant moving for a 27-month completion. No? But if I don't get legislation that I need, and the lenders don't let the money flow, I have no control anymore. And then we still have to live with this. So, we need to move forward and get
This is Bill 213 you're talking about.
213, and also we're proposing another legislation because, the lenders are all risk averse. The lenders have local lawyers. They also look at the laws and say, oh, maybe now this is a problem. So, a land lease agreement for the scenario because of the YTK problem that they had, and we've been trying to get that thing resolved, but the best thing is to everyone resolved by legislation. So I'm working on that right now. I think Senator San Augustine is willing to introduce it shortly, and that will be, we can get that through and passed in April. That will really help. No? So Bill 213 plus this land lease agreement is what's the other thing that we need to make this whole thing happen.
John, if both those bills, and particularly 213, if that's delayed, then the biggest challenge is it delays the new generator that's going to reduce our use of oil, correct?
Correct.
So the delay of passing these bills has a direct impact on the ratepayers, because the faster we build that generator, the faster we stop using 1 million barrels of oil a year. And the permitting required by US EPA is significantly shorter if Bill 213 is passed, and significantly longer if Bill 213 is not passed.
Yeah.
And that delay comes right out of the pockets of our ratepayers. And that's, am I correct?
Yeah, the 213 is tied in also to the total financing package, with the reserve unit and all of that. And it's all tied into this financial closing by April, which means that if they don't get all of these things done, then
it's delayed.
It's delayed even further, because the contractor is not going to move full forward until he gets his money.
Correct.
He's not going to release that money. So we've gotten it now to the
1 yard line.
To the end. 1 yard line. No. Yeah. We can make a touchdown and let's move forward. That's all. It's not really, if there's something, there's nothing.
Delay hurts our ratepayers.
Yeah.
I mean, let's cut to the quick. You've got a solution to help our ratepayers lower their power bill. And now we've got one piece with the refinancing. We need this other two pieces you're talking about, particularly Bill 213. And anything that would delay savings for our ratepayers, we need to fight against that. We need the help of the legislature and the governor to pass these laws so we can more quickly reduce the power bill for all of our ratepayers. And that's what Bill 213 does. We got 212 through, and now you say there's another bill to help the lowest bidder build that new generator to reduce our use of oil and allow us to put on all the other solar farms that will further reduce our use of oil and lower the power bill for everybody. Delay is hurting our ratepayers. It cost us on the refinancing. We should have done this a year ago, but we couldn't get it done because of resistance in the legislature. But we'll deal with it, and we'll save them money still. We can't afford to delay that generator. It's not fair to our ratepayers.
And that page there is another thing. It's one thing for savings, but it's another thing now to meet the capacity and the load growth. Don't forget, the military are going to be coming on the line in 25.
All right.
Oh, a lot of other businesses and associated are gonna occur, right?
Right.
So we don't want to get to the point where we cannot act, ne? And we've said it before, maybe with not as much passion or with force or in effect, ne? But I'm showing you on the island the reality, of where we are, and we will, we work. Melinda and her team, they're working whatever it takes to make this thing happen. To keep the lights on, and I think we're going to be very successful in doing that. But we need to see that there's light at the end of the tunnel, no? That by this date, we
need to work together.
Yeah.
We need to work together.
The plans are 30 to 46 years old, and so.
Yep. Well, we're with you.
So that's all, Mr. Chair. I wanted to cover in the GM report. There's others there for your information.
Motion to adjourn? And we'll go until Tuesday. Motion to adjourn?
Tuesday.
Second?
See you Tuesday. Thanks, John.
We're adjourned.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much, Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.